welcome or welcome back to my channel. On today's episode, we're going to be doing Draw With Me. And if you don't follow me on TikTok or Instagram, please do so now. You can also subscribe if you'd like to. The link is down below. So let's create something awesome together. On today's episode, we're going to be fixing an old, really bad drawing that I created on the wrong side of an alcohol page paper. So we're going to be changing it to blue. So the thought is, if we can trace the original drawing from the backside with a light board, then we might be able to make it, if not better, the same. So here's me doing that. I spent a lot of time using the fineliners, the Micron ones. I can't remember if I used I think I used 0.8 to do all the pretty chunky details, and then I continued using the 0.3, I think. Yeah. I don't know if it's just me, but I get really frustrated whenever I have a fantastic drawing and then there's just one really big mistake that kind of ruins the whole thing. To start with, I actually really liked how this woman warrior turned out. And towards the end, I think maybe it's just in my head. I don't know if it's just like that I've created it, that I suddenly hate it, but the proportions of her, I don't know, they bugged me. I spent a lot of time adjusting the light to try to see if I had messed up with the proportions from the beginning or not. But here I am. I'm trying to figure out what colors, and I couldn't. So at the end, I ended up having my boyfriend pick out 3 colors because I could not decide. It was such a big monumental decision to figure out the dragon. And I think it turned out pretty cool. I mean, he ended up picking a bunch of 3 random colors, and it's not like the 3 color challenge where I stuck to just those 3 colors, but it was really I need somewhere to start. Please help me. So here's me basically just trying to figure out, or not figure out, I am struggling deeply, intensely actually, with deciding which color palette works the best. And I don't know if it's just me, but I like to lay out all the shades in front of my drawing to kind of see, okay, will this work? How is this going to look? And I don't think I've ever actually done a drawing with these 3 strong colorings. And this is where my gears kind of started to turn. I was like, okay, do I want to attempt to use blue and purple together on the dragon? And same thing goes with the warrior. I started thinking maybe I should use pink. I might be crazy. And it didn't turn out. That is actually up for you guys. Please leave a comment down below if you think I made a mistake there. I spent a lot of time really struggling. I think I started with the skin just to kind of get a quick overlay. Okay, pace yourself. What do you think will match? So if you have the energy, pause right now and tell me what you think would have been best based on these color choices right now. I even brought out some of my newer Panduro colored pencils to see if any of those shades would kind of inspire anything in me. It ended up being pink anyways for the hair, which is new for me. I don't know if it's just me, but putting strong colors in hair freaks me out. I have a really hard time with proportions and hair as a general. I think I have a easier time with animals and dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are great. Dragons are great. I think those are pretty simple, but when it comes to the kind of the living beings, it's a struggle. I had a really hard time with the skin shade too, but that could also just be me overthinking, or towards the end it could actually just be that I had a double-sided drawing, so it kind of not entirely bled through, but it did kind of affect the backside, which was a little bit frustrating. So yeah, and then I started coming to the thought that maybe a gradient would be nice. I don't know. Gradients kind of, they always turn out really cool. And I've done a previous illustration with a gradient work for my boyfriend. I think I did League of Legends, the galaxy landscape in the background. I can't remember for the life of me which character that is. So if anyone else can, please let me know. But I kind of tried to do that before, and it turned out pretty decent. The hair kind of felt like it made her very 2D in comparison to the dragon, which, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's pretty cool. I've never really had anything against 2D characters. It's just a little bit, it messes with the harmony, if that makes sense. So that was a bit frustrating. Yeah, but I think towards the end, it turns out pretty decent. God, I have this like super weird tick right now where you just say like the same 4 or 5 like sentences in a week, and that's been my like sentence for the week. Where it's like, I don't know about me. I don't know about me. Which I don't think anybody else picks up on that, if you know what I mean. I think, see, if you know what I mean. Oh God, it's so hard not to say that. I think when your brain picks up on a specific like sentence, it just can't drop it. And I've like always been curious if it is that you suddenly like get a new sentence to lock onto, or if the brain just like doesn't have the energy to keep it stored. Yeah, see, I was almost about to say it again. But yeah, I'm like, I wonder if there's some like chemistry behind that or not. I mean, I recently just like found out that when you have deja vu, this was the coolest thing. I mean, I'm curious if other people actually know about this or not. But deja vu is apparently the neurons in your brain. This could be misinformation, but I did search it up on Google. So, but basically that deja vu is like the 2 neurons in your brain like that are connected to like memory. I think it's like long and short-term memory, where it's supposed to be short-term memory, but the neurons fire incorrectly, and then it gets stored as long-term memory. So what you're currently doing at that very moment gets stored as a long-term memory, when it's not really a long-term memory. So that's why your brain gets that feeling of like, oh my God, this has happened before. This is what is happening. So yeah, I don't know how I got there. That also happens to me a lot, but yeah. Basically, this is my first time fully recording a YouTube video, and I don't know, I feel like I've always wanted to do that. I've had a lot of like inspiration as a kid from like drawing with waffles. I don't know, obviously a lot of people know who drawing with waffles is, and like a lot of other quite like smaller art YouTubers who really just kind of kick-started my like love and joy for art as an art form. And I think for a really, really long time, I think it's very hard and difficult to choose not only like the medium that you prefer, but also the style that you have. And I think I've kind of gotten to a place, I'm 23, and I think I've kind of gotten to a place where I enjoyed. But I do still think that's something that I really have to work on. Anyways, back to the actual illustration. I am laying out all the markers, kind of playing with them, really. I spent a lot of time thinking here, as you can tell. It was really difficult to kind of get over the hurdle where it was like, okay, it is now going to be time to actually draw this. You don't want to mess it up, because I fell in love with it, and I took a big leap of faith here. I really only did the smallest chunk, at first I actually considered just doing the whole thing purple, and I'm not quite sure if that would have been cooler or not, but I think I liked how it turned out. I started using like the purple to kind of like shade out the deepest, darkest points, and thought, okay, with a blue overlay, like kind of how I did on the beard of the dragon, I thought it turned out pretty cool. It looked like a different type of gradient, and I thought maybe those two things could like combine. Like it would kind of bring a little bit more harmony to the piece. And I'm like, the thing I like about alcohol markers, I don't know if it's just me, no, but the thing about alcohol markers, it's just like they blend so seamlessly, depending on which ones you have. I mean, I have a couple really junk ones, and I just recently bought these Ohuhu sets. I have the skin tone, and I do have Copic marker skin tone, but I think I'm more of an Ohuhu girl than Copic. I think Copic, I don't know, it just seems like they dry out really quickly. It doesn't really feel like they blend as well, or maybe I'm blending incorrectly, but I do feel like Ohuhu blend out pretty well. And Faber-Castell also 10 out of 10. I think they're fantastic with blending. They work really, really, really well, but I do feel like they don't hold as much ink. Like the saturation of the ink is not where I kind of want it to be. I am speeding up a couple of these pieces because I do feel like it's not the most fun to sit here and watch me fully chunk out and block out an entire blue section. But all the shadowing, I felt like that might be like the most fun part about doing a bigger piece is the shadowing, because I feel like it's a bit like using fine liners in the fact that it brings forth the dimension of the drawing, and it just ramps it up. So if you don't already use shading, obviously not everybody likes to shade. I mean, majority of the time I've actually seen a lot of people do the reverse. I actually don't know what that term is called, but I have seen that quite a bit, and it's really, really cool. I, however, have not gotten to that degree and that level of experience in order to be capable of trying that. But this might actually have been my first time using two, I wouldn't say opposing colors, but two different colors. One for shading and then one for the full block. I think I am actually really, really impressed with how this turned out, and it felt really ballsy for the first ever attempt at using two separate colors. If it's not painting, because painting is a bit different, you can blend that out. But to use it with such a big and focal drawing for me, I was really, really happy with the original fine liner drawing of this and the sketches. I was really, really impressed with it. But to choose something like this to do, scary. Especially going in with the darker blue, because that's what I did here. I did use a small dark blue, and I didn't really like how it turned out. Here are actually the two shades that I'm going to be showing you. I think one is called Sky Blue, and I'm pretty sure the other one's Lavender. Yeah, grade Lavender. Those are the two shades I used. I did use a darker blue to do the nose and a couple of the really dark shadow points, but I felt like it kind of took away the deep dark purple. So I just did roughly 2 or 3 blocking of the same sky blue over the whole dragon in order to get a deeper shade of that blue. I didn't really want to stray from the shade I had because it turned out really, really cool, in my opinion. Also the tongue. That was a struggle. It ended up being black. At first I thought, okay, maybe if I make this the cool, kind of teal blue, and then it just kind of just looked like an insect crawling out of his mouth. So they ended up with basically just a blocked out, fully blue. There was no longer any fine liner shading in that. I have very little kind things to say about that tongue, actually. The eyes, though. Eyes turned out great. That was simple. I think a 2-year-old probably could have done that. But it felt really nice. It felt good to have one simple part. Sometimes I'll save the easiest chunk for the middle, kind of, so you can get a break. It's kind of like the gym where you save a really simple exercise somewhere in the middle to kind of balance out the extreme. Oh my god, I don't even want to talk about the girl. I think warrior, she started out being a warrior, okay? Now I'm just saying girl. The proportions are so off, and it stresses me out a little bit because I feel like the dragon turned out pretty subpar decent, and the skin tone, the hair, and the actual gold weren't fantastic. But everything is progress, I think this could probably be a great step forward for me. I'm definitely... Now I know I really have to work more on proportions on the human body instead of inanimate creatures. But yeah, here's me attempting very thoroughly to fix both the sword and her her skin tone. I think I go over a couple times her skin trying to really like perfect it, but I have a really hard time showing dimensions when it comes to skin. I think there's such a limited color range. It's not limited, but I think I'm limited. Okay, that's the right term there. I'm limited in what I can do. And maybe I'll try to do like a skin tone theory video. I think that could be pretty fun to like try out the different skin types and just sketch out different characters and see if I can maybe practice and work on that, because it is a bit boring, you know. It's a bit boring to work on just one character, or not just one character, but on the actual skin. I find it quite boring, and I almost kind of speed rush through it. So that's frustrating. Here is the backside. The backside totally destroyed my whiteboard, which is really upsetting. I have tried to scrub it. I'm going to continue to try, but it is in fact very much stained. But it turned out really cool. Like when I flipped on the other side, I probably will never do this again, but being able to see like the other drawing peek through with the light board on was really sick. What, however, was not sick was the black background. I mean, Jesus Christ, that took way longer than I thought it was going to. But it turned out good. I think the black background was needed. I don't think I could have had any other shade at that point. I could have done like green, but then I would have been going way out of my comfort zone. And I did have the idea of adding stars to the black like sky. I think I ended up doing it. I will, however, not be showing it because it turned out awful. So I am a bit distraught over the state that this drawing is currently in. I have, however, not thrown it out because, well, I created this beautiful piece of art. I will not be throwing it out, but I will not be showing it, the final piece. Unless some of you really, really want, I can humiliate myself. Here we are doing the castle. On the original front side, I actually spent a bit of time fully drawing out the background. But when I did the blue dragon, I felt like it kind of like took away from him. If I were to really go in detail with the background, or I could have just been lazy, really, whichever. Realistically, I was actually just being a bit lazy. But I still think it was better to have a blocked out and like two gradient, like brown. Maybe the rock should have been brown too. Yeah. Here, I found out I had all of these brand new Winsor markers that I've been like dying to use. And I discovered it like quite literally towards the end, and they would have been great options for the dragon. So if you want to pause and look at those, you can tell me which color you think would have turned out a bit cooler. And here is our favorite. This is a damage control using colored pencils to try and solve the small, decently big chunks of problems I had with the girl. Like the gold. This is actually really fun and interesting tip, if you don't already know, to use blue colored pencils and green colored pencils on yellow to kind of shade a gold look, because you can't really accomplish that with just that. And then I took out my awesome Jelly Roll pens and kind of gave the dragon a bit of like salivation and drool to really like emanate the fact that it's not like a super kind dragon. I don't know. I feel like a Jelly Roll always gives that extra oomph. And here's the finished piece. It turned out, I'm pretty proud of it. You can let me know down below what you thought. Any tips or tricks to not get them bleeding on the backside of my whiteboard. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it turned out pretty good. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe. Go follow me, like and subscribe, and comment if you have anything to share. Thank you so much for watching.